This is Steve Zeltzer with Workweek in Pacifica, and we've been covering the struggle of the residents and workers at East Palestine to get health care and to get the Stafford Act instituted in East Palestine so they can get excuse me, they can get their health care, and also they can get compensation for their homes if they need to move out. And joining us today is Jami Ray Wallace. She was on the executive board of SEIU 1199. She lives in East Palestine. And Chris Albright, who is a pipe fitter in LIUNA 1039. And both of them are residents and activists and organizers, really, to defend themselves and the people of East Palestine. So welcome to our show.
Thanks for having us.
So thank you.
There was just recently this $600 million settlement, this class action settlement. What is that all about? And is that going to help the people of East Palestine and really deal with the issues that you face?
No, it's not. It's going to help out the lawyers. It's basically, I mean, just from listening to a lot of the buzz around town and in the different groups and everything, it's a slap in the face is what it is.
And Jami, what's your thoughts on that settlement?
You know, I'm just real curious as to why they want to settle now. We don't even have the final ruling from the NTSB hearings. Our creeks are still heavily contaminated. We still have people being exposed. You know, I think if they figured out, like if they divided everything equally, residents would get $6,000 a piece. But what you have to remember is, number one, there are 31 businesses that are in this lawsuit. So they're going to get a higher percentage of the property loss money. They've also extended it out to 20 miles, and it's still open for people to sign up with right now. So we don't even know what the final number of people are going to be. I mean, I would imagine people 20 miles out that didn't think they had a lawsuit, whether they had symptoms or property loss or anything else, they'll now be getting a check for nuisance. So how many people do you think are going to sign up for that? So again, I feel like exactly what you said, Chris, it's going to be the lawyers that benefit. I mean, what benefit is it to them to go to trial and spend all that money and all that time to get us, the residents, more money? They'll be millionaires, and we'll end up with not even enough money to test our homes. We're in the exact same situation we're in now, with a couple $1,000s in the bank.
And workers such as yourself, at the conference that was held in East Palestine, residents testified about their serious health problems, going into bankruptcy. One nurse from the Ohio Nurses Association said she was in debt $500,000. The EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, is supposed to be responsible for oversight of health and safety. What has happened in East Palestine? Have they done a survey of any of the residents to find out what the health effects are of the vinyl chloride?
Absolutely not. They actually released a notice the other day, last week, I think it was, saying that they did not declare East Palestine a natural disaster area or a health crisis because there weren't enough documented cases. How do you know there's not enough documented cases when you're not going out and you're not checking with the people who live in this town? You don't know. You've never come. You came to my door one time, and it was after I had an article in the New York Times. You've never asked me about my health, my family's health, my neighbor's health, anything like that. You don't know jack to make that determination.
And I think just to take that one step farther, when you see all the information that's released from even President Biden, his latest executive order, in it will say, under the Biden administration, we ordered EPA, FEMA, and CDC to go door to door in East Palestine. You may have ordered it, but CDC went door to door one day. Half of their workers got sick, which is the same, I would say, reporting symptoms in East Palestine, about half the people. They reported the same symptoms that people were reporting. They also reported that when they left town, the illness went away, like it did for residents. They went one day and got sick and never came back. To this day, not only has no one gone door to door, but a group of volunteers, a bunch of us were going door to door early on, asking if people needed air purifiers, air filter, independent testing, water. The local police department stopped us. They said that we fell under an ordinance for vendors and peddlers, and that if we wanted to continue to go door to door, that we would have to fill out an application with the village and pay a $400 permit fee. We took it to the ACLU, who said it was unconstitutional. So the city agreed to repeal that part of the ordinance without litigation, but no one could go door to door from the end of last April through August 24th. So not only is our government not doing it, our local government, the mayor, when asked why he didn't go door to door, he said, well, I have a wife and 2 kids in sports. I have a kid. Do you know how much time I gave up with my kid to go door to door? I just, when they were approving the park plan, I was getting out of the car at my brother's and had some woman screaming at me from across the street, we need help, we need help. I go over, she lives there with her 83-year-old mother. They have no technology. They have no transportation, very little money. They had no clue what was going on or how to get themselves out. And the mother had almost died twice. So no one has asked the people or going door to door. There are no surveys. Our local government has not, they can't tell you how many people have moved and how many people have not, how many people are sick, how many people are not. No one is keeping these statistics.
And Chris, you had said this morning there's a lot of construction going on. There've been flooding in East Palestine. The water is coming up. I mean, there's chemicals in the water. It seems that the government, the U.S. government, the EPA, have put Norfolk Southern in charge of the town. That Norfolk Southern built a park, $25 million when people need health care. I mean, what is going on? I mean, Norfolk Southern, it seems like, are bribing people, pitting people against each other in the town. Is that what's happening in East Palestine at this point?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right now, Norfolk Southern, they're holding all the cards. They're in charge of everything, no matter who wants to deny it or not. That's what's going on. Norfolk Southern is running everything right now. They're running our government. They're running our police. They're running all our businesses. I sent you the videos and everything. I know people can't see, but right now today, because of all the rain and everything, they're down there. They're going nuts. There are trucks upon trucks upon trucks down there, right where there never really is. They're digging up across the street where by the creeks. They're pumping water. They're doing all kinds of stuff now, and it's all Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern is governing Norfolk Southern. They're like the cleanups and everything. Nobody's watching them except for Norfolk Southern. How does that work? That makes no sense.
Perfect example of that, Chris, is when Norfolk Southern finally came up with their cleanup plan for the creeks. They started cleaning it up, and chemicals were openly flowing down our creeks again. Where was the EPA oversight? Like Chris is saying, these were Norfolk Southern contractors. The EPA wasn't there to see it. And where the hell are these people's common sense? You're there to clean up chemicals. If Chris or I were working those pumps and we see the chemicals free flowing, wouldn't you say, Chris, wait a minute, this probably isn't right. I'm here to clean this stuff up and I'm flowing it. Like it's ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is they have no clue what they're doing. Just say that. They keep telling us we're fine because they're testing single chemical exposure limits. So when they get these limits of vinyl chloride that you can be in at safe levels, they only expose that subject to vinyl chloride. There's zero research on what happens if you expose people to 50, 60, 100 different chemicals all at once, even if they're at below those reportable levels. So the fact of the matter is they don't know. The science is not there. There's a research gap. So when do you start listening to the people that have symptoms? When do you start listening to the people's bodies? They say follow the science. Well, let's face it, the science isn't there. Listen to us. We're sick and we need out of these homes until they can at least be tested and we can be shown that it's safe to go back into them.
Now, when President Biden came to East Palestine, people had hoped that he would institute the Stafford Act, which is a law particularly for these kind of circumstances. where there's a mass toxic incident and people need health care, and they also need compensation so they can move out, so they're not forced to live in a community that's contaminated and is continuing to be contaminated. He didn't institute the Stafford Act. He gave some money for research grants, maybe to find out what's going to happen 20 years from now to people, but people are suffering now. Do you think that there's really a conspiracy, a criminal conspiracy between the government and Norfolk Southern to limit their liabilities, to force people to live in a community that's toxic and people are getting sick? I mean, it sounds like a criminal enterprise to force people to live in those circumstances. Who would want to live in poisoned community with poisons coming out? I mean, I doubt the CEOs and their families would spend 10 minutes in East Palestine.
Well, I'd gladly
you
open
know-
up my house and let any of them stay here. I got no problem with that. Come on in. My door's open. I will welcome you here with open arms. We'll drink all the tap water you want and bathe in the water, do all that stuff. You know, we'll plant a garden too. You know, you can eat the vegetables out of that too. I dare you. You know, as far as it being criminal and everything, I'm not a fan of Norfolk Southern, obviously, because of everything that happened. But I also know we need the railroads. We need safety acts on the railroads. But as far as the government goes, like the railroad workers tried to strike, and the government said, "No, you can't do that. We're not going to let you strike." They're running the show. It's ridiculous. Again, it makes no sense. I mean, you got people getting sick and people dying, and I've said this 1,000,000 times. Nothing has changed, and this can happen at any time, anywhere. If you live near train tracks, this can happen. It'll happen to you. It happened here. It's going to continue to happen because nothing has changed, and our government isn't doing anything to change it.
And it's an emergency situation. There's still train wrecks going on even after this train wreck. And I mean, there are no train wrecks in Europe. There are no train wrecks in Japan, Korea, in China, but there are train wrecks in the United States. How do you figure that, Jamie?
A different view of the criminalness of it. If I poisoned my husband for his life insurance, I would be in prison, one person, right? They poisoned 4,700 people at least for money, and nothing's happening. Yes, we do need the railroad. There's no doubt. I agree with you, Chris, but we need a railroad that's not corrupt, one that's not willing to kill people as a cost of doing business, and one that has these safety regulations. You know, again, when the workers themselves are saying this is not safe, and we tell them they can't strike and we don't listen to the workers, why? Why? Do you think it's all those politicians' pockets that are lined with the money of Norfolk Southern and the railroad? Well, yeah. And right now, I mean, our city government is being openly paid off. I don't care who you are. There's no way you can deny it. Like Chris said, we live in the village of Norfolk Southern now. That's who's truly in charge.
And you're doing a campaign to get President Biden to institute the Stafford Act, which would allow you to get health care, which would allow you to get compensation to move out if you feel you have to defend yourself and your family, protect them. And you're trying to get unions and Liz Schuler, the president of the AFL-CIO, to support this call. What can people do in unions and workers in this country to make sure that you get the Stafford Act so you can get health care and compensation to move out so you're not stuck in a poisonous community?
First of all, unite. There's definitely power in numbers. We had that event that you spoke about, and we had a lot of different unions there, a lot of different people there, and just getting everybody in one place and talking about the same thing. And they're going to go on and they're going to talk to their brothers and sisters, and they're going to talk about it. And the more we keep talking about it, the more that's going to happen. The more pressure we're going to put on the government, on all the different agencies that are supposed to be helping us and taking care of us. You know, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, protection. It's in their name, yet they're not protecting us. You know, the government, Norfolk Southern, we have to keep the pressure up. We have to keep talking about it. We have to keep, telling our neighbors, our brothers, our sisters, our unions, everything about it, and keep going, keep the momentum going. And with power and numbers, we will win this.
Jamie?
I'm sorry. I think that, as far as the brothers and sisters go, they should be concerned. This is not just an issue in East Palestine. This could be an issue for them tomorrow. The laborers, the working class are the ones that built this country. And now we're allowing it to be controlled by corporate greed. And it's so far gone. It's going to take all of us to come together to fight this, to get real change and to protect ourselves and our families.
Okay, well, I want to thank both of you for joining us, and this struggle for really your health, your future is critical to all working people. As you say, it can happen to anywhere, anytime in this country with the toxic dump sites. And as we learned at the conference, there are other toxic dump sites, radioactive dump sites in Ohio that people are having to deal with. So it's not just in East Palestine, but defending your lives, defending your health and safety and your families, that's a step forward for all working people in this country. So thanks for joining us on our show.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Good. Take care. Okay.
See you later, Steve.
Good. Take
Wait,
care.
what time is the meeting tonight? Today, 4 or 5
5.
here?
5.
5 here? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.